All right, we're gonna go ahead and get started. Hopefully you guys can hear me okay. My air conditioner is on. It's kind of loud. I hope that's not too obnoxious in the background because, yeah, I'll explain some more about that in a minute here. But welcome everyone. Thank you for joining us. Welcome, Jojo. Thank you and to Sunny as well. Thank you guys both for showing up. It's exciting to have new folks here. Oh, okay. All right, I'm gonna handle the sub notification before we deal with this. Thank you, Rain, for the resub. Time for chaos, I guess. I saw the eagle just before it showed up. No! Oh, can we not do this? Can we not do this? Can we not do this? Okay, Soul is going in the den. We'll be fine. Can we not have this happen for one frickin' second so that I can intro? Yeah, you just had to do this now. Just had to do this now before we can even figure out what we were doing. Yeah, no time for predator poll. Sorry, you guys. The eagle decided not to give us that luxury. All right, nope. You stay away. Leave. Be gone. There's one good thing about having two pups, and it's that it makes it very easy to make sure that they're both safe. But I do remember that in the last episode, unfortunately, we did lose one of our pups. Nobody's sick right now, no, but we do have an injury. We did name the pups. We also lost a pup. I think that was the stream before last that we named the pups, and then last time we did lose a pup to illness. Also 33-month sub streak. Holy cow. Have we been streaming that long? It doesn't feel like we've been streaming that long. That's almost 3 years. It's gonna be 3 years like this November-ish, I think. Did anything big happen last time? I believe that was when we lost one of our pups. We had 3 pups. We're now down to 2, unfortunately. Eagle's jealous. He doesn't have Twitch subs, apparently. It was, unfortunately, though, it was an illness. Okay, I think we just need to sleep. Because that looks fine. The pups are full on food. We're full on food. Yeah, I think we just need to sleep here. But yeah, we did lose a pup to illness the last time, which was unfortunate. How did Typhoon get so? What were we doing? So it's been a couple of weeks. If you're seeing these as VODs, or if you're here live, it's been a couple of weeks. I ended up canceling stream last week because I had an entire sequence of events that happened. So I mentioned that I was having a maintenance issue, I believe, and yeah, that was an entire saga. So it was not last Thursday, the Thursday before last Thursday. I was getting ready to do stuff, and I turned on my air conditioner, and there was this weird buzzing noise, and I didn't really, I thought the air conditioner must be buzzing. I was like, that doesn't sound good. Because, you know, I've been running it quite frequently. I've needed it to sleep. It's been quite hot here. It's been a lot hotter in Wisconsin than it usually is for a prolonged period of time, from what I know, at least. Oh, the pups can eat carcasses now. But yeah, so it's been pretty hot, so I've had my air conditioner running a lot. And I figured, okay, maybe I just had it running too long, it needs a break to cool off. I left it off the afternoon while I turned it on in the evening again, and it started making the weird sound again. And I was like, oh boy, that's not good. And then I had an additional moment of, oh no, that's not good, because I realized the sound was not actually coming from my air conditioner, it was coming from my circuit breaker. And so I was like, oh, that really doesn't seem good, because it was like this, you know, it was making this bzz, 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 bzz noise, and then the lights would flicker, and that's generally not what you want from an electronic appliance. It isn't. It generally isn't. That's not a herald of good things. I'm gonna send these guys, or, you know what, no, I'm gonna sleep until morning so we can see what we're doing. So that wasn't good, and so I'm like, okay, this is probably a problem that I need to deal with. So I decided to turn the air conditioner off, because, you know, when you hear a sound like that, you don't want to risk whatever the heck is going on being worse than you think it is. Oh, I don't actually want Dream right now. This is fine. This will be fine. This is light enough. So I decided, okay, I'll leave the air conditioner off overnight, put in a maintenance request, as I did. You know, that's, you know, I figured, okay, well, we'll get it dealt with. Well, the next morning at like, oh no, I don't want to speak. I want to whine. I'm hitting all the wrong buttons. The next morning, at like 8 a.m. on the dot, I get a call from my landlord. And she sounds concerned. And I'm like, oh boy, this isn't good. And she's like, yeah, we got your maintenance request. We can't come look at this until Monday. It was Friday. Basically, the place that I live in that has multiple properties, and unfortunately, we weren't going to have maintenance staff on property for a few days. Because of course, these things never break when somebody's on the property. That's just the way of things. It's never convenient. If you're gonna have an issue, it's gonna be the most inconvenient possible timing. That's just how it is. We gotta go find some babies to feed to our babies, I think. So I'm like, oh boy. And then my landlord's like, yeah, we don't know what's wrong, so please don't run your air conditioner until Monday. I'm like, okay, yeah, I wasn't gonna, but that makes sense. So from Thursday all the way until Monday, I didn't have my air conditioner running at all because I didn't know what was wrong with it. And so that was not fun. It was very hot. I overheat very easily. I don't know what kind. Oh, I think it's an elk. Is this an elk? This is an elk. Yes, she's over here. Okay. So I was like, okay, well, at least on Monday, we'll be able to get the air conditioner back up and running. So on Monday, maintenance comes out bright and early. Everybody was addressing this with a Jay, please don't. Oh, Typhoon just went for the kill there. Everyone was addressing this with a very Jay, please don't burn down your apartment kind of tone. So they were taking it very seriously. I was taking it very seriously. We didn't know how serious a problem this was. Yeah, this game was started before the update. There won't be any antlers or skulls. Unfortunately, we're not going to really see the new features here. And I will catch up with chat in a second here. I'm just trying to get my thoughts in order. But yeah, so maintenance came out on Monday pretty early. He comes in here, he looks around, he takes a look at the circuit breaker, and he hears the weird noise that it's making because it started doing it again. And he kind of pokes at it a little bit. He poked at it, and it got worse. And so he kind of just made a face, and he went, well, that ain't good. And that's really not what you want to hear when you're having maintenance come look at a problem. So he decided that he did not know enough about the electricity to deal with this problem, so he called an actual electrician, because, you know, maintenance folks are usually kind of generalized, and this was more of a specialty problem. So I'm thankful he did that to get a second opinion, but that meant that we were then waiting around for an electrician, so there went most of that afternoon. Well, or at least several hours of it. So this is on Monday still. The electrician comes, and he confirmed kind of like I'd taken a shot in the dark at it and thought, well, maybe it's a bad breaker. It did turn out to be a bad breaker, so we were like, yay, we're gonna get this fixed. And, you know, it's actually not that hard to swap out, apparently. I was watching videos on it online. Apparently, you can actually do that yourself. I don't know that I would ever feel comfortable with it, but, like, apparently that's not that significant of a maintenance thing, so I was very relieved that that was all that it was, that it was just a breaker that was starting to go out. So we replaced the breaker, and we're like, okay, this should be fine now. And so, you know, our maintenance guy was helping try to make sure that it was all set up right, and that everything was working after that. And we turned the air conditioner back on. And he kind of stands there for a minute, kind of just like feeling it, and he goes, this isn't cold. And I was like, are you kidding me? Yeah, it wasn't just the breaker, as it turns out. Simultaneously, the air conditioner itself failed and started cutting in and out, which would probably explain some of the problems that I was having with keeping my apartment cool. So that was not good, but he was like, okay, you know, we've got a carcass over here. We'll go over this way. He's like, okay, you know, we've got new units. We can replace the unit. I just need to take some measurements to figure out if this is going to fit, because it's a new unit and there's a hole in the wall. It's a wall unit. And so you need it to fit in the wall hole. Well, it was like a 1/4 inch too big. Yes, of course it was. So, that was on Monday. After a series of calling around, the earliest they could find anyone to come widen the hole, which involved cutting through a brick wall. Like, this is not a simple operation. They were like, well, we can send someone on Friday. So for a whole week, I didn't have any air conditioning. Or I did for the latter half of that. Technically the old unit ran, but it was very sporadic. Sometimes I'd come in there and it was acting like a glorified fan. Sometimes I'd come back. Actually, we can just bring a piece of this carcass back now, can't we? Sometimes it was, for most of that though, it was just basically a glorified fan. And that was really not ideal. Sometimes it worked, didn't work well. So on Friday, we had to have a specialty guy come in again and cut a hole in the wall so that I could get a new air conditioner. All this to say, I have a new air conditioner now. It works great, but it's a little bit loud. So if you hear anything in the background, that's probably it. But this one's actually a nice air conditioner compared to my old one was just like an older one that just had a dial on it. This one actually has a thermostat, so it'll turn itself on and off. But sometimes that shows up a little bit in the videos. I think I have to turn it all the way off because I was noticing it. So if you hear anything weird in the background, that's probably all that is. But anyway, I have air conditioning again. But that's why I didn't stream, because I was like, I don't want to have to run my computer that much more, and I was already having to run it a lot. So that was why I didn't do a lot of recording and I didn't stream last week. Anyway, I think jumping to next year does count as a new year for the purpose of collectibles. But yeah, that was the air conditioner saga. That was why I was gone for a week. Let's see. Yeah, it is a good trade. I don't mind a loud air conditioner as long as it works well. And usually I can turn it off enough that I can get my recording in. I mean, maybe not on a day like today. It's supposed to be very hot today. So I'm just kind of hunkered down in here. But overall out here, it's not that dramatically hot compared to where I used to live. But like, holy heck, I don't know how I lived in California for as long as I did. And I'm so glad that in that time we never actually had an air conditioner failure, because yeesh, it was in like mid to high 80s, and it was very bad for the week that I didn't have air conditioning. It was not fun. So I don't know how you deal with that in a warmer climate. I'm thankful that I never had to, but goodness gracious. Okay, you don't hear it. You put an audio filter. Hopefully it will cut that out then. Yeah, I do my audio filtering a little bit differently for my videos because of the way that I do my videos. So sometimes background noise gets cut out a little bit differently. So hopefully it's not too evident. I notice it because I'm very picky. But, you know, I don't think it was too awful. But yeah, old saves don't have the collectibles, so we're really not going to see any of the new features here because we don't have, you know, we're not in Lost River, we don't have the dogs. We don't have, we'll see the antlers on the bull elk potentially. Well, I guess I don't even know if they'll have full antlers though, because they still have nubby ones right now. So I probably won't really see any new features on Hurricane's save. That's why I haven't talked about them a whole lot. We'll see, but we see them a lot on the other ones. We see them a lot on the other saves that we have here. So the main channel is going to see a lot of that. I saw, I think, just a raven in the distance. I was like, what is happening back there? It's been 100 degrees for like 20 days where you live. I'm so sorry. That is not fun. That is very not fun. Has everyone else had abnormally hot weather? Actually, a lot of people have. The weather pattern in the United States, this is me being a weather nerd. No, absolutely not. Absolutely not. You heck right off. Get out of here. Get out of here. Oh, there's 2 of them now. Yeah, I don't trust that. But yeah, no, we've been having a really weird weather pattern where there is a significant amount of hot air and hot temperatures across most of the middle USA. As far north as I'm up in the Midwest in Wisconsin, it goes all the way down to Texas. There's just like a whole big, I think they're calling it like a heat dome, just parked in the middle of the US. So we're having a lot of very hot temperatures in a lot of places over here. I don't think there's that much that we need to do right now. I think we can probably sleep again. I'm so used to having larger litters that I'm just like, I don't know what to do with myself right now. We only have 2 pups. It's not been that hard to take care of. But yeah, no, a lot of people are experiencing abnormally high temperatures. Soul, please don't. No. Back over here. Back over here, please. Ugh, the scratching. The scratching's starting to get kind of annoying. Stratus is almost like 15 pounds already. Soul's only 13. So we're gonna be here for a little bit longer, I think. But yeah, that's why the weather is what it is right now. It is actually doing weird things. I've gotten way too used to having to spot eagles. I got way too used to that, so... But yeah, I think as long as you're starting a new game with an old wolf or jumping to a new year, I think that reloads the map sufficiently so that antlers and stuff will spawn in. I'm not 100% sure, but I'm pretty sure. Yeah, the eagles didn't actually attack us, but we'd slept enough that I was concerned that they might. Oh my goodness, yeah, 6 pups is definitely on the higher end. I think we have 7 and 6 on the main channel wolves right now. Oh, let's let these guys eat a little bit. But yeah, I think we have 7 and 6 right now, so 2 pups is... I feel a little underwhelmed right now. This is like been like a walk in the park so far. I mean, I'm gonna say that and they're gonna run different directions during an eagle attack and one of them's gonna get taken or something. But compared to having potentially like 7 pups sprinting in different directions, that's a hare. Compared to having like 7 pups running different directions, it is much easier thus far. Let's see. Let's go ahead. Well, let's not sleep. Gonna have to take some tails today. In the den, y'all. Somebody want a butt kicking? That's what you're gonna get. You are weaker than you should be. You have not made a smart choice running in here like this. You have not made a smart choice running in here like this. This was not a good idea. You're gonna regret this. You're gonna regret this. Yeah, get out. Get out. Yeah, you're lucky I spared you. Running in here with less than half health is not a good move, ma'am. Alright, let's... Oh, that's... No, we're on voice. We need to be on favorites so that we can squeak. We haven't had that many wolves that have reached age 8 yet. We've had, I think, 2. We had Puma and Maple who have so far. But we're gonna hopefully play all of these guys until age 8 as well, like all of our stream wolves, so we will see. Hopefully Hurricane gets there, as long as nothing catastrophic happens first. Oh yeah, I'm rapidly approaching 600 distinct wolves featured on the channel. Yeah, we are getting real close to that. Rain has been keeping track, and I am still in awe of that because there are so many that, like, genuinely, I can't keep track of them all, and we're coming up apparently close to 600 here, which is absolutely unreal. I mean, I guess I've been doing this for 7 years now, which is also incredibly unreal. We've been streaming for 3 years. The main channel just actually had its anniversary at the start of the month as well, going on, or we hit 7 years going into our 8th for the main JayPlays channel, which is wild. Oh, they stole territory, you jerks. Absolutely wild, though. This is very much not what I anticipated when I started doing YouTube stuff. I did not think that I would still be here doing this. 7 years down the line, that's more than halfway through the decade. Yeah, I did not think that this would still be something that I was doing, but I'm happy that it is. I've been enjoying it, and I mean, for the foreseeable future, I'm hoping I'll be able to keep going with it. Yeah, Maple had a really good story. Hers is definitely one of the most memorable ones that we've had thus far for me. Not just because we played it all the way through, but I think it had a lot of very very dramatic moments in a way that not all of our stories have. Like, all of them have had their own drama, but not quite to the same degree. Naples was something else. We definitely had some of our most intense scenes there. Oh boy, yeah, definitely. I think it's probably like each run through of Slough Creek is like, or not. I can't even say each run through of Slough Creek now. Each run through of Raised Pups is like 6 to 8 hours, I think, usually on a single player. So yeah, trying to get all the way to age 8 takes a while. If you really speedrun it, you can get through it in like maybe an hour. That was what I did with not Wayfinder's Tempest, Element's Tempest. I speedran some of his early litters to get him to the proper age. But, you know, if you're playing through normally, you're gonna be there for more than a day. I don't even know, like, I had gone through at one point and calculated how much time I had in WolfQuest episodes, but, like, I don't even know what that would be at this point. I know I have, like, 800 to 900 hours logged on Steam in Anniversary Edition, and that's not an entirely accurate number, so and quite a lot of that is recorded. Probably not all of it is. Did we? No, we didn't mark this. I thought we marked this. I guess we're out of range of it. So we have quite a significant amount of WolfQuest content. But yeah, Naples' story is definitely one of the ones that stands out for me quite a lot. Ooh, we got a moose carcass. Okay. Oh, wow. Well, thank you for sticking around. Yeah, we've got some people who've been around for quite a long time, too. Sometimes I see folks who've been around for quite a significant amount of time. I do occasionally, like, I don't recognize everyone, but I recognize a lot of people in my comments section when I go through it. I do read most of my comments still. I don't always reply to them because I get a lot of them, but I do see most things that people send in. No, not a scam phone call. Oh my goodness, I was absolutely shocked. I got, like, cause like, I get scams, but, like, they're all very YouTuber specific scams for the most part. Like, they're like fake or sketchy, sponsorship opportunities, basically. So it's all like really YouTuber specific. But I actually got, like, one of the tech support scams recently, like one of the ones where they're like, we're gonna charge you this much for your subscription to Geek Squad or whatever it was. It was like one of the very classic scams. I was like, oh my goodness, are you kidding me? I've never seen one of these in the flesh before. So, but yeah, I used to get a absolute crud ton of spam calls. I don't normally get as many of them now. Like, they kind of tapered off for some reason. But I used to get a lot more of them, and it was funny because when I first moved to Wisconsin, the way that I could always tell was because they were always California numbers. Because I didn't change my phone, so my phone is still a California number. So whenever I got phone calls, they would spoof California numbers, and that was how I knew that it was fake phone calls, because it was just, you know, they were like, oh, you must be in California. Wrong! Not anymore. So, oh, yeah. Yeah, I've heard that it's a good safety practice. Oh, that's right. I guess that's the first. Oh, Typhoon killed the other one. I was like, we got one, but it was Typhoon who did it. So I guess technically that didn't trigger the achievement. Huh, interesting. But yeah, I've heard that it's good practice to not answer with, like, your name or any identifying info, to just say hello and kind of make them give that to you. Because a lot of the time they don't even have the correct info. So that's an extra safeguard if somebody's calling and asking for someone who's very obviously not there, then that's a big red flag. So it's a good idea to not answer with personally identifying information. Where do we need? I guess we can go around that way. Oh my god. Medical insurance scams. Yeah, I guess that makes sense. I mean, I guess Scamming people in general is not good, but that's like a particularly hecky thing to scam people over. But yeah, I can see why it would be easily spoofed, or easily, why people would attempt that. Ah, makes sense, yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of, there was a lot of flooding in California recently because they got hit by a frickin' hurricane, which doesn't normally happen. It was, like, it weakened way down before it, before it hit them, but everybody where I used to live was texting me like, Jay, did you know we're getting a hurricane? Jay, did you know that there's a hurricane out here? I'm like, goodness sakes alive, what is happening? Like, a year after I leave the state. And then, like, okay, I was talking with my family during this. There was a frickin' earthquake during the frickin' hurricane in California. And so, like, in the middle of this phone call where, like, I knew that the hurricane, remainders of it, whatever was left of it, was going by, but in the middle of it, my mom was just like, oh, there was just an earthquake. I was like, are you kidding me? So people have been joking about the hurricane now. But yeah, there was a lot of flooding, and what was astonishing to me, because, like, you know, okay, I'm a weather nerd. I have a radar on my phone, and I was joking about this recently with some of my friends, because sometimes I will just, like, cruise around and look at the different radars where my friends live, just to see what their weather's like. I realized when I was saying this that this is probably a kind of a unique to me thing to do, or maybe not entirely unique, but probably not a common thing that this is not a thing that most people probably do. This is me being a weather nerd. But so, of course, during the hurricane, I was really, really interested in kind of keeping an eye on what was going on out there. And it was interesting to me because it really hammered home how much of the impact of storms has to do with, like, not just the storm itself, but with, like, the soil and the ecosystem, because a lot of the rainfall that was happening, we regularly get much heavier rainfall out here, and yet out in Wisconsin we don't get that kind of flooding. Well, a lot of it is, I think, the dirt and the way that the plant life is different, and there's not, like, it's a lot more susceptible to erosion. There's a lot more slopes that can just, especially in burn areas, there's slopes that can just give way and cause landslides or cause flooding because of the way that the desert is, versus the forest doesn't really do that. There's also not as many hills and mountains out here in Wisconsin, so you don't normally get the same kind of flooding, even though we in general get much heavier storms. So that was really interesting to notice and to realize that no, this is just genuinely, like, we didn't get that. You don't get that heavy of rain usually out in California, but it's quite common where I live now. Yeah, there was a hurricane in the Pacific that came up the coast. Bucket here. That came up the coast and kind of fizzled out, but the remainders of it dumped a ton of rain over California. It wasn't a full-on hurricane impact the way that places like Florida or Louisiana or sometimes even Texas tend to get, but it was a hurricane. It was the remainders of it. Oh my goodness, what do you call a storm made a dessert, a hurricane? I love how calm people are when they're used to things like, oh, there was an earthquake. Yeah. It's funny to me because that, like, I'm shocked by how quickly I acclimated to the Midwest in that respect, and to the storms out here, because it's just like, oh, we have a severe thunderstorm warning. It's probably fine. Oh, it's a tornado warning. Okay, I'll go sit in my closet for a little. I mean, okay, I was not, despite being the weather nerd, though, like, I now understand why people will poke their heads out during a storm. And, like, do not do this. It's not a good idea. I was being dumb. But, like, you know, when there was there was a storm that had, you know, tornadoes and stuff. We had some tornado warnings last year. And despite having lived here for, like, under 2 weeks, within that time, I was still like, okay, but what if I just, like, stuck my head out of the closet and looked out my window? And I did that, and the sky was green, so I kind of was like, maybe we shouldn't actually do this. Maybe this is not actually a good idea. But, like, you know, it is amazing how quickly people acclimate to that. But yeah, people get very used to whatever disasters occur in that area. Like, it's just, you know, it sounds a lot more dramatic to people who don't live there. But yeah, people in California are very much just like, oh, you know, the joke where I grew up was, oh, was that an earthquake or was that a sonic boom? It was just kind of the thing. I'm like, looking back on that, I'm like, it's kind of normal, but it's also kind of not normal. Okay, Stratus, let's not go this far away, actually. Hurricane. Oh my goodness, the pun game in the chat is very strong right now. You only learn that hurricanes form near Africa and travel across the Atlantic to East Coast North America. You didn't know they could form anywhere else. It could be because of the state you live in, though. Yeah, so typically you get hurricanes in the Atlantic, and you get, what are they called? It's not cyclones, it's typhoons. Typhoons are usually what they call them in the Pacific. Because usually they'll go, when they form in the Pacific, usually they'll go towards Asia. Or, I don't know if they go down towards Australia, but they hit a lot of the islands out there, and sometimes they'll hit the Asian coasts as well. So, usually when you get a typhoon, it goes the other way. It's very rare to have them come back and come towards the American coast. And it was especially weird for me because they're watching the Atlantic right now because the Atlantic is really warm, a lot warmer than it usually is. Just the weather patterns this year have lined up for that, and so they're keeping a close eye on it because it seems like it could very likely form some big storms. So they've been watching that real closely. Well, the big storm of note that had formed was not even in the Atlantic, it was in the Pacific. So it was kind of an ironic timing for it as well, although I think that there is more activity there. I don't know, I watch a lot of weather news because I get curious, I get nosy about the weather. I want to know what's going on, and I want to know what's happening in the world of weather. This is an interest of mine, so I keep up with it. Poking your head outside a storm is giving old man dad energy. No, it's just what people do out here, though. Like, it's not even just dad energy, because, like, during the storm, when the storm was rolling in, the one that dropped some tornadoes in the general area, like, absolutely not. You want to die today, because that's what you're gonna do if you don't get out. Not today, heckers. But yeah, no, like, when that storm was blowing in, I happened to glance outside, and several of my neighbors had just, like, taken lawn chairs and set up on their balconies. And we're just watching it blow in, even though we knew it was gonna be a big storm. We knew that this was gonna be a big weather day. So this is just what people do. This is just what people do out here. But yeah, that's... It's a very interesting atmosphere. You've had your den flood in the middle of Stranger Wolf attack. That was, I think, if I remember correctly, that was part of how we lost a pup way back when Slough Creek first came out during Peregrine's first litter. I'm pretty sure we lost one of the pups. I think it was during a Stranger Wolf attack that happened concurrently with a den flood, if I remember correctly. Yeah, I saw the coyote coming, and there's only one of them, so didn't take that long. The tornado watchers at that point is their new job. Yeah, you joke, but that genuine, there is some credence to that. I was really sad because, like, I wanted to get storm spotter training, but I'm, like, never around for it. I managed to miss the days that they posted it nearby. So at some point I want to get storm spotter training, because, like, okay, this is an aspiration of mine in real life. I would like to do some tornado chasing, storm chasing at some point, especially now that I live in driving distance of some of the Midwest to Plains states. Wisconsin isn't all that good for tornado chasing. We have a lot of trees, but more open areas like Iowa are not that far away, and they're a lot better for tornado chasing. But, you know, my whole thing with that is if I'm going to do that, I want to do it safely, so the best way to do that would be to start with getting NOAA spotter training. And they straight up just have a class that you can take to learn to identify, you know, storm features. And so there are trained storm spotters who have learned how to identify these things. And so sometimes if you see a tornado report, you'll see spotter confirmed tornado or law enforcement confirmed tornado is local law enforcement. Or radar indicated means that they saw something on the radar that looks like it's rotating. Or are there other... There's a few different ways. When they issue tornado warnings, there's a few different things that you can see that it'll say as to whether or not they've actually confirmed that there's a tornado or whether it just looks likely that there could be or could imminently be one on radar. That doesn't mean you should take the radar ones less seriously because they still can see things from those radars, but they can't always tell if the tornado's down or if it's just a storm that has potential to drop a tornado and could do so at any time. So... storm watching that's just looking outside. It's never not storming in Florida. Please help. Oh no. Yeah, Florida is definitely known for its storms as well. I think we're gonna sleep. I guess we could go poke around for rendezvous sites, but we'll probably do more of that tomorrow. Let's see. I'm glad you got your phone call done. You're forced to wake up at 6 o'clock. No, I'm sorry. That's very early. You're scared of being struck by lightning specifically. Lightning is a good thing to have a healthy amount of respect for. Like, that stuff is no joke. It is definitely better to be cautious than to fool around with it. Like, your odds of being struck by lightning are quite low, but at the same time, minimizing those odds by taking basic safety precautions is also a very good thing. No, let me sleep! Dang it! I'm ready for the rendezvous site. I'm ready to go. I'm ready to leave. We're scratching too much. You're not scared of lightning, you're scared of the sound that comes after it. That is how my cat is. Evie absolutely hates thunder. She does not enjoy it at all, and I don't blame her. That's a scary sound to reckon with as a cat with no context. And even for people, you know, if you're not expecting it, I can absolutely understand that. Like, when I know it's storming, I appreciate listening to it, but if it catches you off guard, it can definitely be quite startling. Okay, how close are pups to leaving? Pretty close. The size discrepancy. Okay, let's turn on these. Gotta decide roughly what rendezvous site we're going to. Let's go poking around at rendezvous sites today, I think. What's the difference between a watch and a warning? So a watch means that they know the conditions in an area will be good for a certain type of storm formation. So that's why if you see a tornado watch or a severe storm watch, when you look at it, it's this huge area. It's because they can look at the environmental factors and say, okay, if a storm forms here, it's gonna have a lot of energy, it's gonna have a lot of instability, are a lot of the things that they're looking at. There's all kinds of different metrics that they look at, and so they can see, okay, the factors here are gonna lend themselves to that. So if a storm forms in this area, it's likely to be a problem. So that's why you'll have this huge area that is marked as a watch. A warning means that there is a storm there, and it's doing something of concern, be that severe thunderstorm warnings are usually issued for storms with high winds, very heavy rain, hail, something like that, whereas tornado warning means that there's a storm that's rotating that has or could very quickly drop a tornado, which of course is its own hazard. And then there's also different levels of tornado warning. There's radar indicated, there's confirmed, there's and then the highest level of that is a tornado emergency, which means that there's a confirmed tornado on the ground. I think it's usually... it may not be... I'm trying to remember if there were cases where there was one that wasn't confirmed. There might have been one or two cases where it wasn't confirmed, but where they had reason to think that a strong tornado was imminent. But in general, a tornado emergency means that there is a strong tornado. They can tell that it is doing damage. They've either seen it or they can see debris on the radar. And basically that is a get to shelter now. This is not good. It's also often issued when there's a dangerous tornado in proximity of a populated area versus just out in the countryside doing whatever. So, that's pretty much, yeah, the watch's potential and the warning is evidence is a good way of putting it. You heard somewhere that if your hair stands up, you're about to get struck by lightning. I think potentially it can mean that there's a charged atmosphere which can precede a lightning strike. Because lightning is just a really, really big electrical spark. Oh, this is the World War. We're not going the right direction. You listen to thunderstorm ambience focus. It's not nice white noise, but not totally monotonous, so it's not too boring either. Yeah, I like the ambience of it. Sometimes it's a little startling when I'm trying to sleep, though. Yeah, loud noises, though, I relate to that, because I can be kind of noise sensitive as well. Yeah, there's some pronghorns chilling up back there a little bit. Yeah, rainstorm sounds are really, really nice, for sure. But yeah, that's a little bit about weather watches and warnings, how they work in real life. So the general rule of thumb is all of them you want to take pretty seriously. Severe thunderstorm warnings, usually just being inside can be adequate. Like if you're in a strong, like I haven't been too worried about always going into my closet when there's a thunderstorm warning, because oftentimes it's hail or high winds, both of which are generally not gonna smash into a building. But if it's a tornado, then you really do need to be, you want to be in an interior room or basement, away from windows, and ideally like under a mattress or something like that. Because if a tornado does hit, and like the odds of a tornado hitting any one place are pretty low, but you always want, like, you don't want to take that gamble and be wrong. Generally you're gonna be okay. But it's better to not take risks with it, is kind of the whole premise of it. So you always do want to take them seriously. Don't do what I did and try to go look at the thing. That was stupid. That was not smart. That was me making a very poor judgment call. But yeah, tornado ones are the ones that you really want to make sure that you shelter. Severe thunderstorm warnings, you at least want to make sure you're indoors. So Deb said pronghorns would be hard to catch, and you got like 8 of them plus 3 babies. They're hard to catch unless the circumstances are right. You're generally not gonna just out sprint or out stamina them, but if you can catch them on up on the terrain, or you can surprise them and get a lot of damage in to slow them down, there's a point. Like, they're not easy to kill they're not hard to kill in terms of just raw damage. So once you get that bite, they go down pretty fast. Flashback to the pronghorn community events. Everybody just went feral. Everybody just went feral in that event, which is exactly what I expected. I knew that we were gonna have to do an event like that from the moment pronghorns were announced, because I was like, you know, the swarm hungers for violence at all times. There's no way that we're gonna not be able to do that. Okay, let's look at some of these rendezvous sites down here. The devs underestimate the swarm. I don't think you can predict for the swarm at this point. The swarm is just a force of nature in its own right. You heard that lightning never strikes the same place twice, but you've seen TikTok videos about lightning striking the same place multiple times. That's pretty much a myth. The Empire State Building gets struck a lot of times. There's also, I don't know if he's still alive or not, but there is or was a very unfortunate, or fortunate, depending on how you look at it, park ranger who got struck by lightning 7 times and survived all 7 of them. So lightning absolutely can strike twice, but it just kind of, it would depend on where the electricity gathers at a certain point. So I think you don't often see it strike twice, is kind of the thing. More often than not, you're not going to see it happen repeatedly in one spot, but it absolutely can. And in a few notable cases, it definitely has. Where is this rendezvous site? Is this the rendezvous site? Oh, no, it's over here. I see the short grass. Okay, so this is a rendezvous site. This is an option here. This is pretty far away. kind of poke around at some of the closer ones as well. They put you into lockdown for a tornado warning that hit a town a few towns over, and your dad came and got your sister and drove you home. Yeah, that's generally they'll do that, like, and it's generally wise to do that. Whether or not, you know, it's there a case where there's multiple storms, or tornadoes often travel in a predictable direction, but they don't always. So if there's a tornado, they'll generally, like, they'll generally warn and lock down a large area just to make sure that people are staying safe. It's always better to be overcautious in a situation like that. You don't want to freak out and panic about it, but caution is never remiss with that kind of thing. You're watching a video a while ago and some people were discussing how lightning and thunder actually happens. One of them thought it was hot and cold air coming together, and that's sort of right. Someone else thought it was a friction between clouds, which is not correct. Oh my goodness. Yeah, that's not quite it. The real reason is lightning happens when negative and positive ions and grounded objects in the ground of the clouds. Thus, lightning happens to connect the clouds and grounded object to balance out the positive and negative charges. Yes, that both of those were from rain, and that is that is what happens. Did the park ranger have any long-term effects? I think he lost a lot of his hair. Like, I remember reading that he lost his eyebrows or something. I think he had some ongoing effects from being hit 7 times, but I think overall he was mostly okay. I don't know. It's been a long time since I've read about his story. It stuck with me, but I don't remember all of the details. But I don't think, you know, I don't think he necessarily died of complications from it either. I think if I remember right, he died. Well, I don't know if he died of old age or if he's still alive. I feel like he may have died, but that could be wrong. All I remember is that he was struck by lightning 7 times, and I don't think that ended up killing him. Lightning superheats the air, which causes it to expand really quickly. The sound of vibrating air, so our ears translate that expanding air sound and becomes a really big boom. Yep, that is how thunder happens. Yeah, the poor guy, like, I don't know if you would call that being incredibly unlucky or incredibly lucky, because, like, 7 times is, I can't, they should have given him a Guinness World Record for that if they didn't, but I think they may have, actually. I don't know. He would have deserved one. He definitely would have deserved one, but at the same time, like, he lived it all. He survived it, so in some ways that's also incredibly fortunate, too. So, I don't know. Sometimes life be wild. And where is this? I see. I thought I saw a cougar, and I think I'm just seeing things. Where is... Okay, this is the rendezvous site. So here's another potential option. Kind of keep those in the back of your heads, because we're gonna head back home. We probably won't be able to pick this today, though, so... just kind of keep that in the back of your head for next week, because we will have to choose a rendezvous site, and I do generally ask for a little bit of help with that. Yeah, his name was Roy Cleveland Sullivan. That's who I was thinking of it. For anyone who wants to look him up, there's a trigger warning for now, because he died. Okay. He did die, okay. One of your teachers got struck by lightning and had a weird scar on his arm for a while. Same teacher that showed us the Storm Chaser video. Wow. That is wild. They did give him a Guinness World Record. Good. He deserved it, because if you're gonna go through that, at least the least that they can do is acknowledge it. I mean, if you have to get struck by lightning 7 times, at that point you deserve it. At that point you deserve the record. I wonder if he was abnormally tall. I don't know. I don't know what the circumstances were that led to him in particular getting struck 7 different times. If his hats are on display. Oh my goodness. Okay. So yeah, he did die of non-lightning related causes, but it's a little bit sensitive is what people are telling me. So be careful of that. Yeah, respectfully hope no one breaks that record. That's definitely a record you don't want to see get broken. This is not one that you want to see get beat. Or I don't know. I don't know what circumstances led to that. I guess being a park ranger does kind of make sense. So, because, like, you know, if you're out in nature, and, like, that was, oh, I guess we're at 15 pounds now. Okay, we're not gonna go on the journey right now. We're just gonna kind of wrap up here. We'll find a grass patch. I guess we'll just go to one of those grass patches. But yeah, I guess if you're a park ranger, you're gonna be out in nature a lot more often, so it kind of makes sense in that, from that respect, too. And that was my own scariest close call with lightning, kind of close call with lightning. The one time we got caught in a thunderstorm while I was out hiking up in the mountains in Colorado, we were like maybe a quarter mile from the peak, and the peak regularly gets hit. So it was a little bit ominous, a little bit concerning being out there, and we got hailed on the way back, but you know, we climbed back down. I was out there with family, all of us were okay and everything, but it was a heck of a storm, and it kind of came out of nowhere and took us all by surprise. So let's see. Oh my goodness, his wife was also struck once. During a 6th lightning strike, he described it as if a cloud was following him and he was trying to run away, but lightning got him anyway. This poor man, holy heck. Wow. Some people just have incredibly interesting lives, I guess. That is wild. No kidding. But yeah, I think we'll go ahead, we'll leave this off here, because it is getting to be about that time. I know it's a little bit early, but we have the whole journey ahead of us, and I don't think we're gonna get that in the next 4 minutes. So, oh my goodness, Lightning Strike 6 was in his hair caught, for goodness sakes. Wow. But yeah, at least we don't have to worry about eagles, because I do see one flying in the distance here. But yeah, we'll go ahead, we will leave this off. I'm just trying to get the affinity up before we go. And then be thinking about some of the rendezvous sites in this area. If you guys have recommendations for them, I'll take those next time, because if you tell me now, I will not remember. But next time we're going to start out by kind of determining where we want to head off to. The probability of 7 strikes is 1/10 to the 28th power. Oh my goodness. What in the world? Wow. The story of the park ranger reminds me of a lady who survived 3 different shipwrecks. Oh my goodness, yeah. Some people just have extremely interesting lives. It is very wild. Oh, Stratus went all the way over there. Okay. 10 with 28 zeros after it. Holy heck. Oh my goodness. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. We'll go ahead and leave this off here for today. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you are watching this on YouTube. If you're watching it on YouTube, make sure to drop a follow at twitch.tv/jzx535 so you can see when we are next going live. I hope you guys have all enjoyed, and I will see you guys next time. But until then, this is Jay, over and out.